So, one of the most frustrating things in football is being put through on goal, one-on-one with the keeper, what seems like a very scoreable chance, and then just not knowing what to do, kind of fluffing your lines and not scoring that chance. Now, if this has ever happened to you, if you've struggled to score goals, really watch this video all the way into the end, because I'm going to give you some secrets, some things that are just going to help you, some simple things and some more nuanced things that are going to help you score loads more goals, whether you're a striker, a midfielder who wants to contribute more, a winger, or even a more defensive player. Knowing these things and working on these things is just going to make you much more deadly in front of net, and some of these things are actually very easy and simple to apply. So let's go over that coming up next. All right, guys, welcome to the video. If you're new here, my name is Dave, and this is Simply Soccer, where we are working to improve your game and stand out on the pitch. If you haven't gotten my free ebook, by the way, please get that down below. It's a 50+ page ebook, just full of value. I actually made it a while back to be a paid product, but decided to give it away for free. So make sure you get that down below. Now let's get into the very first thing that's going to help you score more goals. And we're going to start with some of the more simple stuff and then work our way up to the more nuanced stuff that's going to be kind of like a secret weapon. But we need to cover the simple stuff first. So the first thing is repetition. Now you've obviously heard this before, but I have to mention it because it is one of the main things that's going to help you with this. One of the reasons a lot of players don't score chances is because they're not confident in front of net. And sometimes I can just be stemmed back to not getting enough practice. But if you, for example, practice your shooting ability, your shooting technique against the wall over and over again, or go close to a net and practice it over and over again, you're going to get to the point where you can strike a ball sweetly almost every single time. And that's what you want to aim for. You know, get to the point where you can hit a ball cleanly with your laces in different parts of your feet, side of your foot, curl the ball well, hit it kind of straight on with the side of your foot too, and really get good at these different shooting techniques. And when you're good at these shooting techniques, you'll be able to start using them automatically in your matches. Again, one of the things I really recommend to get a lot of repetitions in quickly is find a wall and practice your shooting against the wall. The reason this is effective is because, yes, it's more fun to shoot on a goal, but with a goal you shoot, you have to collect the ball or the balls. I mean, if you only have one ball, definitely find a wall. Even if you have 10 balls, it's going to be still more time consuming. Now, there are times you definitely want to use a net for more game-like scenarios, and also because you do want to practice shooting on a net at some point. But when it comes to just honing your technique, your shooting technique, your ability to use the proper form, strike the ball cleanly, I really don't think there's a better training tool than using a wall. So understand, you need to learn the proper form. You need to practice. Now, if you don't know what proper shooting form is, I have other videos that will help you with that. So I have a video that goes over complete shooting form, exactly what you need to think about. I break it down, and I will link that down below and have a card come across if you want to watch that after this, because it will help you know what to do. Then you can go to the wall, practice over and over again. But this is the first thing. If you don't get this, you're not going to score as many goals, because if you get into those situations and you just don't have the technique, well, you're going to fluff your lines or choose the wrong option or get in your head, not know what to do. And not knowing what to do, especially not having practiced what to do in these situations, is going to be the biggest thing that prevents you from scoring goals. In fact, everyone, let me know in the comments, what do you think is the biggest area of your game, the biggest technique, whatever it is that's preventing you from scoring more goals? I want to know down below. I could even make videos in the future that go over some of these things, but let me know what you think is preventing you from scoring more goals than you currently are. So number 2 is another simple one. Again, we're going from simple and then going to get more kind of nuanced and more of the stuff you may not know, but it's composure. Composure is the next thing after technique, because there are players I know, for example, who I played at a high level or played with at a high level, who in training would have incredible finishing ability, they had great technique, but in matches they would, you know, for some reason default to just blasting it, and they wouldn't score too many goals. Now, a lot of these players were midfielders or wingers. They weren't always strikers. When you get a striker like that, then you have a problem, because then you have a striker who's not scoring goals as much as they should. But it's because of lack of composure. And this comes from being ice cool in front of goal. Again, even players with proper technique can still panic, or they'll choose the wrong option. They kind of fight their instincts. And so you have to learn to be composed in front of goal as well. Now, this is again going to come from practice and repetition, but more specifically, really putting yourself into those scenarios you find yourself in matches. So practicing your finishing in many different situations, not just one situation, but many. Practicing it from different angles. Practicing beating a player quickly and getting your shot off, for example. Maybe practicing one-on-one with the keeper many different times, because the more you're in these positions, the more you're going to develop the muscle memory and be able to instinctively, which we're going to go over in a minute, deal with these situations. So understand the importance of composure even when you have technique, and it's really the best strikers in the world have incredible composure when they find themselves in these situations. They don't just lash out at the ball, they go to finish it, not just smash smash it. Sometimes you will smash it, other times you'll place it, but having composure is going to allow you to choose the right option more times than not. If you're liking this video so far, if you found it valuable, it resonates, please hit that like button and we'll move on to number 3. Now, I'm not gonna spend too much time on number 3 because it's so obvious and so simple and you absolutely need it, and it's instincts. The best strikers follow their instincts. Now, when you mix having the repetition and composure, it kind of plays into your instincts. For example, I've scored certain goals where I had no idea what I was going to do going into the situation. I wasn't even thinking at all, and then I'll end up volleying the ball early before most players would have, or dinking the ball over the keeper because my instincts kick in. And when your instincts kick in, you'll sometimes do things that other players won't think about because you're not thinking, you're just allowing your body to react. And sometimes it looks like, you know, you're doing the ballsier or riskier thing, but you're just following your instincts. And this is ultimately how you want to be in front of net. This is the player that takes the shot early, even though, you know, the traditional advice might be to bring it down and then face the defender or whatever else. This is the player that dinks the keeper, even though it's a little riskier to do, but they know gives them a better chance of scoring or whatever else it is. You want to not be fighting your instincts. You want to be following your instincts, and your instincts are honed on the training pitch. They're honed, you know, practicing match situations. Once you have that down, you really need to then let your instincts take over in game situations. Now, number 4 is similar, but have a go-to finish for different situations. Now, this doesn't mean fight your instincts. This means practice a certain thing so that your instincts and muscle memory kind of go on a default finish. If you look at a lot of the best finishers in history, for example, like the Henrys, we can look at Harry Kane now, we can look at the original Ronaldo, they all had things they preferred that they were so good at, they would kind of go to that more times than not. For example, we all know, if you know Thierry Henry, he loved just the nice placed curled finish into the corner, and he was so good at it, he would do this very often. Again, if his instincts told him to do otherwise, he would follow his instincts. But he was so good at this technique that whenever he did it, most keepers didn't stand a chance. He would be able to curl the ball into the corner with a nice side-footed or curled finish, especially one-on-one, almost every single time. I guarantee he worked on that over and over again in training. Harry Kane has a finish like this. He likes to do a little disguised finish to the near post. Now again, he'll mix up his finishes, but there was a time when he was doing this all the time and it was working so incredibly well. So you can have a few kind of go-to finishes that you've worked on and you know 100% have confidence in and you're really good at, and have a high chance of scoring, that you can work on and then bring out in your matches. You know, for me, again, I like the near post finish that Harry Kane does. I found that to be very effective, and I also like to dink the keeper when I think the situation is right. Now, that might not be the right thing for you, but you can develop what you're comfortable with and it have something that you've mastered to the point where you can score most times when you do that thing. Now, number 5, I just want to give you, because I've mentioned this a few times, but I find this is a bit of a secret weapon when you master it, and it's please learn to dink. And what I mean is learn to chip the keeper. And the reason I say this is because a lot of players shy away from this because it takes a certain level of confidence to do it. Because if you mess it up, a lot of people think you look silly and, oh, you should have tried a safe option or whatever else it is. But guess what? It is one of the most effective finishes when you get good at it. Yes, if your technique's not so good and you can't do it so well, then yeah, probably not worth trying. But if you get on the training pitch and you really practice it, it's not that hard to learn in my eyes. Yeah, it takes practice. It takes a bit of repetition. It takes really, you know, practicing it in different situations. But what I have found is it opens up so many more opportunities for you to score in situations where you're just not going to be able to get the ball by the keeper on the ground. And again, a lot of keepers, their default when especially you're one-on-one with them is to dive at your feet. They're not usually going to go to ground. Now, keepers are learning a little more to stay up because of the dinking and everything, but if you really make it look like you're going to keep it on the ground, try and roll it past them, and then dink the ball, it works so often. And in my case, I found, again, keepers want to dive at your feet because they want to cover as much of the ground usually as possible. And so if you can effectively dink it, if you can effectively put it over their head to the point where it doesn't even matter if they go to ground, that's even better. That's a lot harder, but it's even better. So please learn how to chip the keeper, you know, when you're one-on-one. This can help you at different angles. This can help you when one-on-one. I mean, it's one of the most effective, in my eyes, finishes when you're one-on-one. Again, a lot of players don't do it because they consider it ballsy and they consider like, oh, you know, if it doesn't work, whatever else it is, but you should never be thinking that way in my eyes when you're a goal scorer. Don't think about it not working. You know, you should be focusing on victory, not focusing on I'm going to miss. Focus on I'm going to score and let your instincts take over. And so at the very least, work on this so that it's a part of your repertoire and something you can do. Doesn't mean you have to default on it. Doesn't mean you have to use it that often. But then when your instincts maybe tell you to use it, you'll at least have it in there. And I guarantee you'll score some more goals with this ability. All right, guys, so those are some things you can do if you're struggling to score some goals. If you implement these things, you will 100% score more goals. Some of these these things will help you immediately. Some of them you need to work on immediately and over time, but it will help in that regard. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning into this video. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one.